Nolan was a God-fearing, God-loving child.
It's been a month since 18-year-old Nolan Wells was found dead after disappearing during a 4th of July trip to Horn Island, Mississippi. And somehow, there are still more questions than answers.
We are always going to question whether or not there is a racial motivation.
It reeks of a cover-up.
Since this case first made national headlines, we've seen new videos released, independent autopsy findings, multiple federal arrests, but not for Nolan's death, and a growing back and forth between Nolan's family, investigators, and the people who were with him that day. Hi, I'm Charlie Neff, senior news producer at TMZ. Here's everything we know about the case of Nolan Wells. Let's start from the beginning. On July 4th, Nolan Wells, a college football player from Mississippi, went out to Horn Island with a group of friends for what was supposed to be a holiday on the water. At some point during the day, Nolan allegedly became separated from everyone else. His phones, his keys were left behind. His friends had them, and his parents had to retrieve the items from the home he was staying at with friends. 2 days after he was reported missing, search crews found his body along the shoreline. Early on, authorities indicated they believed he accidentally drowned. But almost immediately, Nolan's family said they weren't convinced they were getting the full story. Here is a timeline of what we know. On July 3rd, Nolan's mother, Christine, said Nolan cooked dinner for her and then slept over at a friend's house before their planned 4th of July boat trip. 4th of July morning, a group of friends along with Nolan took off from Ocean Springs area to Horn Island, which is a remote, undeveloped island off of Mississippi. In the documents we obtained from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, GPS showed the boats leaving around 10 a.m. from the mainland and arriving at the island around 11:14 a.m. 4th of July afternoon, Nolan was seen on Horn Island around 3 p.m. Accounts differ as to why the friends left the island without him.
The last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock, and Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms. My buddy yelled for Nolan, but he was panicking. "Nolan, get the boat, get on the boat." And Nolan said, "No, I'm staying out here. I'm gonna ride in with somebody else." It's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat.
He claims Nolan wanted to stay behind with a girl named Katie McCormick. However, Katie's sister Gracie spoke out saying Katie had a conversation with Nolan and assumed he was getting ready to get on the boat he came out on. We obtained audio to sea tow when the boat started sinking while en route back to the mainland.
We are at Horn Island. We're in 31 foot of water. I want to get this boat unsank and towed back.
People online claim they heard Nolan's name being brought up in the background of the audio, along with "Nolan, wake up," and people also claim they heard "Is he dead?" However, photos surfaced showing Nolan did not seem to be on the boat at the time of the audio. And sources tell us the background audio is simply them in distress because the boat was taking on water. The boat was eventually towed and arrived to the mainland around 5:44 p.m. Later that evening around 11 p.m., one of Nolan's friends contacted Nolan's mother to report he was missing. His family officially reported him missing shortly after, prompting search efforts. On July 6th, Nolan's body was recovered on the shore of Horn Island. Authorities began a death investigation. One of the biggest turning points came when attorney Ben Crump joined the family's legal team, who publicly demanded answers as to why Nolan's white friends left him on the island.
With all those people on Horn Island, somebody knows something. Somebody knows what happened to Nolan Wells.
The family ordered an independent autopsy because they wanted another opinion outside of the state's investigation. They were hoping it might provide clearer answers. Instead, it raised even more questions.
He concluded that it was undetermined, pending further investigation, the manner and cause of death. But he did find that very significant that you had this red discoloration in the back of his brain in that occipital region of the head. The most significant thing he said that we do not know what was the condition of Nolan Wells' body when he entered the water. Was he conscious or was he unconscious? Was he forced into the water or was he unforced into the water?
I spoke to Brian Trasher, who is the vice president of the United Cajun Navy, which is a volunteer search organization that helped look for Nolan, and he told me that he saw Nolan's body when he was discovered.
We had been flying for about 2 hours at that point. We were coming back up north towards the northwest tip of Horn Island, and that's when I saw a law enforcement presence gathering on that northwest point, and then I noticed that there was a what appeared to be a body right at the shoreline, laying face down on the sand. The description matched Nolan Wells. The swim trunks appeared to be similar color to what was reported.
Ben Crump criticized the organization for not reaching out to the family to provide them with any details about what they witnessed the day Nolan's body was discovered. However, the Cajun Navy did provide an extensive report to the family and law enforcement of the tips they received on Nolan's whereabouts and the case. Another part of this story that surprised a lot of people has nothing to do with the death investigation itself. Instead, it's about threats. Federal prosecutors have now charged 3 people from different states for allegedly making threats connected to the case. One allegedly threatened a judge, who was the stepmother of Nolan's friend Warren. Another allegedly made threatening calls to government officials, and another allegedly threatened witnesses and their families. These are federal criminal cases, and they're separate cases involving alleged intimidation and threats surrounding the investigation. There's also been confusion over Nolan drinking that day. Nolan's mother pushed back against reports that Nolan had been heavily drinking before he disappeared.
I have spoken with adults who knew Nolan very well. One in particular, I think he told me he saw Nolan somewhere between like 2:45 and 3:30. He was like, Christine, yeah, we talked for a while. We talked about college. We talked about his life, his plans. And he was like, he was perfectly fine. There was this narrative of, oh, he was sloppy drunk. And it started at the very beginning.
We also obtained documents showing Nolan's mother filed paperwork to become administrator of Nolan's estate, which is often a legal step families take if they want to preserve the option of filing a wrongful death lawsuit later. Attorney Ben Crump also revealed the Mississippi Board of Nursing opened up a professional conduct investigation against Nolan's mom. Ben suggesting it could be retaliation for the family's public campaign for answers. As of today, no one who was on that trip has been criminally charged in connection with Nolan's death, and the results from the state autopsy haven't been publicly released. Even after piecing together Nolan Wells' known movements, the timeline still leaves some of the biggest questions unanswered. There are moments that remain unclear, details that don't fully line up, and gaps that continue to draw attention. Until those questions are answered with evidence, the timeline only tells part of the story.